Alex, thank you for joining us. The obvious place to start is with the appointment of Garry Monk as head coach yesterday. You must be really pleased to have got this sorted so that everyone can now look ahead to the final stretch with real clarity.
Yeah, I think there's an element of relief that period is finished. I think if you go back to the game here against Bolton, we're winning 1-0 at half time. We've just come off the back of a win against Carlisle and everything looks rosy, and then within 45 minutes we've lost. Lyle Taylor's been sent off, and we're starting to learn that potentially our manager might be moving on in the form of Neil Harris going to Millwall. So I think that we're all disappointed, but there was no point us being emotive about the subject at that point in time. It was important that we got on, we stabilised the team. Barry and Kev kindly stepped up, and we went about our search for a new manager or a new head coach. And we took sort of 10 days to go and do that process properly. That involved Ben Strang leading that with myself and other members of the board, as well as the ownership group. And it was really about us making sure we took the time, did our due diligence, spoke to other clubs, and spoke to the relevant candidates that were interested in the role. And I think we've come to a really good position where we think Garry is the right person to lead us, not just in the short term for these next 11 games, but over the course of the next couple of years. And I think with the opportunity of taking on a team in the summer that's going to have some natural movement in the squad, but also the new training ground and the increased crowds that we're seeing here, I think it's a really attractive proposition for him. He's looking for a club with stability and good ownership, and I think we tick a lot of those boxes. What impressed you about him in the interview process? I think he's just very, very clear and concise. He's had lots of time out of the game to reflect on those experiences he's had at other clubs. And I think particularly his analysis of us and the team, he's already worked with Morrow, he's worked with Kachunga, and I think he understands what this level is about as well. He's played at all 4 tiers of the game, he's managed in the top 2 tiers. He's going to be slightly different to the sort of managers we've had before, and I expect to see that his style will really come into the team next season. Right here, right now, it's about making sure we get enough points on the board to get us over the line. Despite the position we're in, we're seeing crowds continue to grow and be maintained at a really good level, so obviously that must be pleasing, demonstrates our growth. But with that in mind, we've recently advertised for the role of supporter engagement officer. What can you tell us about that? Yeah, so I think everyone's worked really hard over the last couple of years to grow those attendances. I think we've gone from 3.8 to nearly 6.6 over the past 4 years. We've been over 7,000 on multiple occasions now in the last few weeks, and I think it's a real credit to the staff here at the club that have really gone above and beyond to make the matchday experience as good as it can be, as well as enjoyable for everybody involved. And we're seeing the fruition of everyone's work in the last couple of months. That said, we don't want to stand still. We want to be bigger, we want to be better. We've set ourselves a target of trying to get to 7,000 average next season. Now that will take a bit more hard work, and at present a lot of those duties are split amongst everybody here at the football club. We really need somebody to come in, really start to engage with some of the supporter demographics that we're not engaging with or maybe underrepresented here at the club, but also to really go above and beyond. Dave Matthew-Jones has done a phenomenal job in many years here at the club as SLO, and he's recently been rewarded with his vice president status, which is great, and also Matt Casey working with our disabled supporters. So it'll be another resource for us, another resource to work with them, and a really exciting period, I'm sure, over the summer and into next season as we look to get bigger and better. And our outreach to the universities also continued. Saw a good take-up of students attending our student night game against Bolton. Yeah, we did. It was over 250 redemptions. We launched a strategic partnership with the University of Cambridge a few months back, and that's going really well. We've got lots of students from the colleges coming to games over the next few weeks, but we're also starting to now work with Anglia Ruskin University, and their students will also be attending. I think we've got a real endeavour that moving forwards, a Tuesday night will be a student night here in the city, regardless of who we play, and everyone will be welcome from that community to come along and enjoy fixtures. Speaking about the uni, varsity games are coming up at the end of next week. How are ticket sales going for that, and what do you hope to gain from the event? I think what we hope to gain is a really good opportunity for us to further embed ourselves in the city. The student population is an important one, but also the partners and the commercial organisations that may be engaged in university but don't engage with us. It's an opportunity to showcase what we're about and build those bridges. I think we're around 1,500 at the moment in terms of ticket sales, but I think we'll see a big spike in that next week, and we hope to be close to sort of 2,500. It's 2 games, it's the women's game and the men's game, and unlike a normal game here at the Abbey, you can also drink in the stand, so I'm sure we'll have a great atmosphere on a Friday night here in the city. And back to our own games, the recent run of fixtures saw us play 2 local games, home to Peterborough and away to Stevenage.
Fair to say that off-pitch events were contrasting?
Yeah, I think so. We put a lot of hard work into the Peterborough game. We did last season here to make it a safe occasion for everybody. We did the same here a couple of weeks back in terms of how we approached it, the measures we took, the policing resource that we took, and I think those that came, bar the result, would have enjoyed a really good afternoon out at the Abbey. In terms of the Stevenage game last week, I think let's be really clear, the Cambridge supporters that discharged the pyrotechnics and behaved in the way they did, we simply won't tolerate that. We're already in the process of speaking to several individuals in relation to the pyrotechnics. They will be banned indefinitely from the football club. We're also working with Cambridgeshire Police to identify anybody else that crossed that line. So I think that's where we stand. That stance won't change here as a football club. I'd also like to thank CUSP and the supporters that have fed back into CUSP about some of the other incidents that occurred and the experiences. We've now relayed those back to Stevenage, and we're also working in conjunction with multiple other authorities to feed those back in. But you know, what's most important is that we look at the behaviour of our fans. We're a family, community-focused club, and it simply won't be tolerated.
And onto developments at the training ground and stadium. Where are we at with both of those projects?
So training ground wise, the building is now complete. We're just waiting for the substation to go in, which should be done in the next couple of weeks. And really there's a lot of work still to be done from a landscaping perspective. That's been very difficult given the amount of rainfall we've had here in Cambridgeshire over the last couple of months. So I really foresee that project coming to conclusion closer to the summer now as a result of the poor weather. And then in terms of the stadium, there's a lot of work still going on behind the scenes. There's lots of people we need to have conversations with. We need to find the fastest and most efficient route to planning, and we're in the process of doing that. We've been engaging with GCP, we've been engaging with the fire department, as well as building control, and it's really important that we don't run before we can walk, and at the moment we're having to walk through various steps and stages. I'm sure in the next sort of 4 to 6 weeks we should be in a position when we can begin formal application to planning. That's going to be a 6 to 8 month process, and involved in that will be lots of consultation, not just with our own supporters, but with multiple stakeholders, local residents, and the wider city.
And the crest, I know we've been quiet on this recently, so what's the situation with that?
I think it'd be fair to say we've been a bit preoccupied with other things in the last couple of months. The crest project, we're just picking back up. We're going to be meeting with some members of the shadow boards and supporter groups later this week, and we'll be looking to finalise what the design process looks like, what the consultation process looks like, and I really see us reaching out to supporters probably from April through to July as we begin to take that process through to conclusion. And
finally, been a big last few days for the foundation with their sleep out on Friday and Cambridge Half Marathon on Sunday. They never fail to amaze with their outreach and fundraising efforts, do they?
They don't. I mean, first and foremost, there's some fantastic work going on in the community. It's been great to see them invest in a resource in the media department to go and showcase that. I think they'd be the first ones to say they do great work, but they don't showcase it enough, and we're starting to see that come across on our channels now. To those that slept out on Friday night in -1, -2, I mean, you know, hats off to you, everyone that was involved. It's for a great cause, and to the staff that also ran the marathon or half marathon on Sunday. Phenomenal effort, and you know, they take great credit for going out and showcasing the foundation's work and raising funds. So thank you to everyone.
So 11 games to go. What's your message to the supporters?
I think it's the same as last year, really. There is no crisis. We're all united here as a club. We need each other to pull through. Hopefully it won't go all the way this year, but that said, you know, the games here at the Abbey are going to be important. We've started to pick up points off the road now as well, so I think it's everybody together, and I'm sure Saturday will be a great occasion, and we'll welcome Garry.